and fight back with maltracks. The war of the minds, they want control of the masses. And Common Core, they dumb us down in the classes. Without knowledge, we can't gain access. Build with the elders, take notes and write classes. We keep whining on the block, how it's gonna stop? Let's start supporting our own, make their supply drop. We buy stocks, then we buy blocks, cause we know the truth and we tuned in to Dr. Maat.
Peace and love, family. Welcome to another Truth to Power Talk with your sister, Dr. Maat. Thank you for joining another powerful discussion. And I have with me tonight another powerful guest, Baba Imhotep. But Baba Imhotep is no stranger. He's no stranger to this platform. Baba Imhotep, how are you feeling today, Baba?
I am great. I'm excited and I'm honored to be back on this platform with you once more.
Yes, Baba. And look, tonight, family, we are giving away, I have them right here, family, 9 copies. And I know that I said that I was going to give 10, but Baba is selling out right now, guys. He's selling out of his urban philosophy, New African Revolutionary Vanguard. So I have 9 copies with me tonight. And I'm actually keeping 1 copy, Baba. So I'm going to give away 8. So I'm keeping 1 copy for myself. Oh, you know what, Baba? I'll probably end up giving the 9th one away and then just hooking up with you when you get another batch and just giving that. So I'm going to give away 9 copies tonight of his book, Urban Philosophy, New African Revolutionary Vanguard. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. But before we jump into tonight's discussion, I want to read Baba's, I want to read his bio. I want to read his bio to you before we jump into the discussion. All right. So Baba Imhotep is the founder and minister of operations of the Pan-African Liberation Movement, PLM. He is a co-founder and executive. Hold up, Baba. I gotta see this is powerful. And I want to make sure I read this, with some music behind me. Hold on one second. And this is a commercial going on, but hold on. I got to read it with this. I want to put this. Yeah, here we go. All right. So Baba Imhotep is the founder and minister of operations of the Pan-African Liberation Movement, PLM. He is a co-founder and executive director of the Urban Youth Initiative Project. All right. A nonprofit youth organization working with youth ages 6 through 12. He is the founder and a lead facilitator of the African Awareness of Critical Thinking Studies class, a community-based study class specializing in the study and examination of African history and culture. Baba Imhotep has over 25 years of experience in studying and understanding African history and culture. He is a scientific Pan-Africanist. Oh, Baba, I want you to expound on this. He's a scientific Pan-Africanist, community organizer, social transformer, lecturer, editor, mediator, organizational consultant, relationship consultant, violence interventionist, specialist, and a self-prescribed urban philosopher. Lastly, Baba Imhotep has been successfully, these words, Bob, they're powerful. Baba Imhotep has been successfully married to Mama Ife Fatiu for over 15 years, and they have 2 children together. He is also the author of 4 books: Urban Philosophy, Thought and Behavior System, Urban Philosophy, Politics of Urban Struggle, Urban Philosophy, New African Revolutionary Vanguard, and lastly, African Manhood in the 21st Century. Baba Imhotep is a native of Baltimore City, and his lifelong mission is the sovereignty of African people. Ashe, 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 yo. Thank you so much, Baba, for coming on the platform. So, Baba, let me ask you a question, because when I read your bio, and this is the second time I read it, and the first time I read it, I caught some key terms. There were some terms that kind of stuck out to me. One, you called yourself a scientific Pan-Africanist. So what exactly is a scientific Pan-Africanist, Baba?
Hi, I'm Michelle.
So for me, the term scientific Pan-Africanist is it's a term that I began to use about 15 years ago. And what I literally, in a nutshell, what I mean is this. I mean that Pan-Africanism is a science, and because it's a science, it's a total system. And for one to be a scientific Pan-Africanist, it means that we would have to be pulling from the best of all of our Pan-Africanists who have come and who are currently working and synthesizing their thought processes, their methodologies, and their perspectives. For instance, so you might take Sylvester Williams, who coined the term Pan-Africanism. Marcus Garvey never professed to be a Pan-Africanist, but however, we pull from Garvey and we pull from Du Bois, who was in opposition to Garvey. However, but Du Bois played a part in the intellectual side of pushing Pan-Africanism. So the scientific Pan-Africanist is an individual who know how to look at all of the Pan-Africanists in spite of whatever their flaws were, to take the best from all of them and we synthesize it into a total system today that we use to govern our lives. So that's what I mean when I say I'm a scientific Pan-Africanism. You know, I pull from all of them. Patrice Lumumba, Kwame Nkrumah, Martin Delaney, Henry Highland Garnett, Alexander Crummell, Marcus Garvey, William Sylvester Williams, W.B. Du Bois, take it from everybody.
Absolutely. Keep
so
going,
that's
Baba.
also what I mean. And I synthesizes it to the degree where, though, I feel like scientific Pan-Africanism becomes the evolution of Pan-Africanism. It becomes the culmination of Pan-African history. So in it being an evolution, see, for us, you can't have a white woman or a white man. So we know some of our Pan-Africans of the past had white women. So we evolved on their thought. So for us, we said, no, it has to be black man, black woman. It has to be set up that way. It has to be the total practice of the African way and not the mixture of anybody else's way. So the scientific Pan-Africanist is the Pan-Africanist that's evolving and refining Pan-African thought and theory.
Family, share this show. We got to get the views up, family. I'm on my phone trying to stream on Facebook. It doesn't seem like it's live streaming on Facebook right now. At least if it is, I can't see it. Oh, I do see it. So we are live streaming on Facebook. Family, share this video. Baba's going to be dropping a lot of information tonight. We're discussing New African Revolutionary Vanguard, and he kind of touched on it a little bit just now. So we're going to get into it. Family, share this show. All right, share this show. Let's get the viewership up right now. All right, Baba, also in your bio, you mentioned you called yourself an urban philosopher, you know, a self-prescribed urban philosopher. Can you expound on that for a second, Bob, before we jump in?
Yes. I say self-prescribed because I'm the founder of that. I'm the originator of that. So at some point in human history, when they look back and see that the discipline of urban philosophy, they'll know that it originated with me. So that's why I say self-prescribed. But what I mean by urban philosophy is that I take who and what I am and where we are as a people, and I use African in a modified way to bring our people forward. So for me, I look at the best of African traditions and culture, and I utilize that in such a way that can move us forward. So even me coming up with the idea of urban philosophy, it grows out of African deep thought. Because once a person begins to really study what I mean and what I'm saying about urban philosophy, they'll see that the essence of it is traditional, authentic African culture. And we see culture from an urban philosophical point of view. We see African culture as a unity, not as something that's broken up. Now, I'm not saying it's not diverse. See, diversity does not necessarily negate unity. See, oftentimes we think diversity means that something is not unified. There's a singular African culture in terms of its principles, in terms of its operational protocols across the continent. So when I may pull from Akan, I may pull from Yoruba, I may pull from Kemet, I may pull from Igbo, I may pull from Kikongo, but I'm pulling essentially from African thought and African behavioral and socialization principles. And I utilize that in a way that's adapted to where we are at today in the USA.
And so, Baba, you know, I'm glad you touched on that because Professor James Small said that, you know, it's only one culture, because typically you hear a lot of people over here, they'll say, well, stop speaking of Africa like it's a monolith. You know, they'll say Africa is diverse. Africa has all of these languages, all of these cultures. And so they say that you shouldn't talk about Africa as if it is a monolith. But you're saying the same thing Professor James Small said. You said it's only one culture, right? And so, so you said it's a difference between, diversity. And what was the other thing you said, Baba?
See, yeah, the diversity doesn't negate unicity, right? It doesn't mean, but because a thing is diverse doesn't mean the thing is broken apart. That's just the expression, right? Like you can take a family, which is a unit, but then you watch its members and they're all going to function differently, but just because they function differently doesn't mean they're not the same family. And that's what we got to understand. So we get caught up on diversity because we're looking at ourselves how Europeans looked at us. So Europeans said we was broken up. So that's what we do. So we're looking at us like that. So when we talk that way, it's because this is how Europeans talk about us. So we can't see the underlying current. But that's the underlying current. If you go inside the history of Kemet and look at what they was doing in Kemet, that's the same they was doing in West Africa or in Central Africa. It's not like all African people popped up on the continent at the same time in different places. It didn't happen that way. No monogenetic Genesis, right? It was a Genesis. If you want to use the terminology, Genesis we originated in the central eastern part of Africa and began to move from there. And the oldest people are the short people in stature. Some say Twa, they say Anu, but they're the oldest. That's us. So when you get into understanding that, you'll see how we began to move and migrate, and we took our thought process wherever we went. Culture moves with the people.
That's right.
How culture is transmitted. The people take the culture wherever they go. And the way culture is transmitted from parent to child is through language. Language is one of the principal conveyors of culture. But culture travels with the people. So if it's only one African people that's who originated one culture that expresses itself differently depending on where we are in the world, right? The environment, the climate, the topography all plays a part in how we're going to express the culture. But essentially, that which makes the culture what it is in terms of its principles, its guiding thought process, its worldview, it's the same.
Hold on, Baba. Hold on, Baba. I got to give you one. Hold on, Baba. Woo! Go ahead, Baba. Keep on going, Baba. I had to give it up for you.
So we got to understand that, the differences in how we express the culture is linked to where we are at. So even those of us that's in the USA, we tend to think we don't have culture. We tend to say enslavement destroyed our culture. That's not true. We say white people destroyed our culture. That's not true, right? African people in the USA, we are part of the cultural continuity of African people in the continent. Culture is not static. Culture is dynamic. Culture is not dead. Culture is alive.
Woo!
So as long as the people live, the culture lives.
Woo! Baba, hold on. That's another one. I think I'm going to be using this sound effect all night. Hold on, Baba. Fire! That was fire, Baba. I'm a drop a bomb the next time. I have a sound effect that's a bomb. And so, Baba, look, when you say culture isn't static, culture is dynamic, right? I went into thinking about Dr. Amos Wilson because he talked about that a whole lot. And I have, this is my Bible right here, Blueprint for Black Power. Yeah. And he defines, and I've read every page of this book, but he defined culture in this book. And he said that we do have a culture. He said that we have a culture that's riddled in African culture, but of course it has been influenced by being under, European hegemony. And so, Dr. Amos Wilson, the great thinker, would agree with what you just said. We do have a culture. Now, the culture that we have at this point in time, Baba Imhotep, I would say that we're practicing a disempowering culture. It's not a culture that's empowering us at the moment. But like you said, at the end of the day, we do have a culture. But go ahead, Baba. What do you have to say to that?
Yes, I do agree. So we have to keep in mind that a great deal of the work that we have to do in the USA is remembrance. I'll give you an example like this. So if you kidnap a child at age 10, and then you keep that person for the next 40 years, logically that person is going to pick up some of the ways of his capital since you spent 40 years with that person. However, within that child is still the DNA of his own culture. The child just doesn't remember it anymore. That's us. We just don't remember who we are. So because we don't remember who we are, we have been put through a successful process of acculturation. So we have acculturated the ways and the thinking of the enemy. But despite all of that, we have also added on to the continuity of African culture in general, like hip hop. I'm not talking about what they have co-opted and destroyed. I'm talking about the essence of it. Hip hop is an extension of their culture. What Muhammad Ali was doing, what Rudy Ray Moore was doing, right, is an extension of the culture. What Miles Davis and Charlie Parker and Goody Molesky and all of them was doing, right, that's an extension of the culture. When you look at jazz and look at how jazz moves, it's basically improv. They can do the same song show after show after show, and it's gonna be different. Because they're being moved by what? They're being moved by the energy. That's our culture. So we have added on in other areas that we just don't recognize that we are still, we don't recognize who we are. So since we don't know who we are, we don't see our own continuity and we don't see our own contribution. However, we have been acculturated to such a degree that what we tend to see and what we tend to express is something that's, you're correct, that's disempowering to us, and it works against our best interests as a people.
Ashe, Baba. And I want to give a shout out to my French speaking brothers and sisters in the building. I'm looking in the chat. I see you. The brothers and sisters from the Mubali Mukasi show. I see you, brothers and sisters in the building. And I'm actually going to connect Baba Imhotep with brother Mubali Mukasi to get Baba Imhotep on the show. So I'm going to make that connection between Baba Imhotep and Mubali Mukasi, because I want the French speaking audience to know who he is. He's a powerful brother. He's doing great things. And I only recommend to brother Mubali Mukasi genuine people who are doing the work. I don't recommend everybody, but Baba Imhotep is genuine and he's doing the work. And so I'm going to expose the French speaking world on that side, brother Mubali Mukasi, to this. Family, tonight we are going to be giving away 9 copies of Baba Imhotep's book, The New African Revolutionary Vanguard. But I'm not just, I believe in Ma'at. All right. And so look, one of the principles of Ma'at is reciprocity. So you got to do something to get this. OK. And so family, what I want you to do in order to win a copy of this book, the first thing you have to do is 1, subscribe to my channel. OK, subscribe to my channel. And be sure to click the notification bell so that as soon as I go live, you will be notified. That's the first thing I want you to do. The second thing I want you to do is thumb up the video. This video in particular. Come to this video, thumb it up. All right. Secondly, I want you to share this video on Facebook and tag Dr. Maat or tag Dr. Deanna Bailey. Okay. And once you tag me, I'm going to be looking during the show. Okay. And I'm going to be writing down names. All right. So be sure to tag Dr. Maat or tag Deanna Bailey. Okay. And then head on over to Facebook, type in Dr. Maat and like my public page. And once you finish all of this stuff, type done in the comment section. And throughout this conversation, I'm going to be looking at names and I'm going to be announcing winners. Okay. And your books will be shipped out tomorrow. In fact, I shipped out all of these. I think it was the day before, Monday, I shipped out the 10 copies of Raising Awareness from last week, guys. Okay, so these will be shipped tomorrow morning. So you'll get your copy. Now, Baba, another thing I want to ask you, in your bio, you said Baba Imhotep has been successfully married to Mama Ife Fatiou. You used the word successfully. So you didn't just say I'm married, I'm married. You said I've been successfully married to her. So Baba, why did you add that? Why did you put that word in there? Successfully.
It's a great question. Because first and foremost, part of our culture as African people, we must always be purposeful and intentional. That's who we are. Purposeful and intentional. And we're using a language that can be blurred. Like this American language can be blurred. A person can say I've been married for 15 years, but it's total chaos. And When you hear that, we automatically make an assumption that the 15 years is an indication that it has been successful, right? But that's not true. So for me, everything has to be intentional and purposeful. So when I speak, I'm speaking that way so no one can be under any assumptions, right? That we have to clarify and we have to validate everything we do and what we say. So to be successfully married, for me, is this right here.
Come on, Baba.
To be with your mate, your partner, for a time period, and y'all not toxic, y'all not beating each other up, y'all not destroying one another, you're not tearing each other down, you're not cheating on one another, you're not dishonoring one another, you're not disrespecting one another, you know, you're not being stingy towards one another, you're very supportive, you're gentle, you're loving, you're caring, and you're protective, right? And you are building together on the front line in the service of African people. That's successfully being married. That's what me and my wife have demonstrated for 15 years, and we're not going to stop.
Oh, hold on, Baba. Baba, and I'm, you know, I love what you just laid out, because there are a lot of people who run around, I'm married. But like you said, how healthy is your marriage? You know, you talking about I'm married and you all are cheating on each other, beating each other in the head, and you running around talking about I'm married. So that's why you had to put in there, I'm successfully married to Mama Ife. I love it. Yes. I love it. I see some of you already put done, and you typed it in the chat room. So I'll be checking throughout the conversation. And someone just said, I don't have, Peer Black, you don't have Facebook. Well, Peer Black, I'm assuming it's a brother. Do you have Twitter or Instagram? You know, because I don't want you to not win a book because you don't have Facebook, right? All right. So I want to make sure that you can win it. So do you have a Twitter, or do you have a Twitter, or do you have a Instagram? And if you do, I want you to go ahead and maybe screenshot us and add the link to your Instagram or Twitter. All right. Okay. So Baba, let's jump into the text. Urban philosophy. So New African Revolutionary Vanguard. I got to be honest, Baba, when I first read the title, you know, there were a few things that stuck out. I thought about Vanguard first. Yeah. You know, Vanguard. And when you think of a Vanguard, it's a group, right, of people who lead, you know. And so you said Vanguard. So that, you know, and then that took me back to Die for the People by Huey P. Newton, because he talks about a vanguard in that book. I had the book on the shelf over there. So he talks about that in his book. So Vanguard. And then you said New African Revolutionary. You didn't just call it African Revolutionary Vanguard. You called it a New African Revolutionary Vanguard. So Baba, can you tell me, you know, what does this mean? All of this language that you use on just the cover, and this is without even cracking open the book. You know, this title is very powerful, and to me it says a lot. So could you expound on why you named it the New African Revolutionary Vanguard? What was the purpose of this writing?
Great question. Like I said, everything has to be intentional and purposeful. So given my experience working with African people for almost 30 years now, I've come across so many fakes, so many frauds, so many phonies, so many traitors.
Same here.
So many hypocrites. And then I realized that a lot of the language that we use have been tainted because so many fake people have attached themselves to it. So for me, urban philosophy becomes the science that focuses on reconceptualization. So we gotta reconceptualize things. So I say New African because I'm speaking about a re-Africanized African man or woman who is committed to the sovereignty of African people, who understand what it means to be functioning in his or her higher essence as it relates to being African. So that's what I mean by New African, not just some Negro running around saying I'm African. No, I'm tired of that. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, talk about it, Baba.
You doing everything under the sun. No, I'm tired of that. Like I said, I had an interview last night and I was just saying I'm tired of Negroes talking about they warriors, but you all high and you all drunk. Who you gonna beat like that?
Come on, Baba. Come on.
What war you gonna win like that? What's a person would jump out there at me and they're intoxicated? I'll rip his whole head off.
Come on,
you
Baba.
Can't, you know what I'm saying? I wish you would try me and you're intoxicated. and you telling yourself that intoxication make you better, you can perform better. That's a fool talking, right? So I was tired of hearing that nonsense. So I said, I'm gonna redefine a term and a concept that people could aspire towards. So if a person say they're a new African Revolutionary Vanguard, I wrote the book. So now I can check your behavior against what's in the book. Simple as that. So that's why I wrote the book, to create a text that people can pick up and they can read and they can aspire towards and say, this is what I want to become. And I lay it all down what it is. So to be new African for me is to be re-Africanized. To understand that you are an African and you're using the best of African ways and thought and behavior to regulate your own life. So for me, when I say I'm Bible, that's because I'm going to behave like a father to all the children in my presence.
That's
not
right.
just my biological children. I'm going to be that way to all the children in my presence. Every child that's in my presence will get treated as if they were my biological child. So when I say,
go ahead, Baba.
Yes,
go ahead, finish your thought, Baba.
So when I say my wife is my partner, I'm gonna treat her as my partner. You know, I'm gonna uphold her because I'm tired of brothers being so loyal to one another that they're willing to be disloyal to their wives.
Hold on, Baba. Say that again. Say that again, Baba.
I'm tired of brothers being so disloyal to one another that they're willing to be disloyal to their wives. You know, you got this buddy system, you cheating this, that, and other, but you're disloyal. That woman deserves loyalty.
Baba, hold on, Baba. Hold on. I knew I was going to be using this sound effect a lot today. Woo! Oh my goodness. And I know that my cousin is probably watching because she and I, we talk about this often. I said, I don't trust married people who are infidels, because if you're not loyal to the person you lay down with at night, who am I? If I'm your friend, allegedly, and you're not loyal to the woman you lay down with at night or the man you lay down at night, it's no way in hell you're going to be loyal to me. And I also don't have friends. I don't have friends who are infidels, and I don't surround myself with people who don't take care of their children. Because if you don't take care or provide for your children, who am I? So, I don't surround myself with folks like that. So, Bob, anyway, thank you so much for explaining, that. I see that your book is broken into 4 parts. Okay. And in part 1, it seems like you focused a lot on character and understanding one's responsibilities and duties. So can you just give us a brief, synopsis of what to expect when we read part 1? And why was this important for you to even begin this book with talking about, you have an oath here, essential characteristics. You go into areas of interest, sense of duty. So why was it important for you to start there?
It was important to start there because I believe that as men and women that truly aspire to be of great value for our people, I believe that most of us, not all of us, but most of us do need, or can use rather, some type of text that can provide a little bit of direction. I don't think you can't go wrong by having something that can give you some direction, and it can help you check your own self and check your own behaviors to make sure you are behaving at your best. So I started at that place because I wanted to highlight the emphasis should be on the character. Like, character has to be something that we hold in high regard, and we have to place a great value on character. So I started there, laying out how we should be conducting ourselves. Because if you get that down, then everything else becomes kind of easier to master if you understand that the first emphasis has to be yourself. Get yourself right, and then everything else can fall in line.
Facts. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. Quick question: do you pour with part 1? Do you pour or pull? I'm sorry. Do you pull from different philosophy? So, for example, do you pull from Ma'at? Do you pull from Iwa Peli? Do you pull from maybe the Yoruba? And what they felt like was good. Like, do you pull from different places when you talk about good character, or it's well, you're right. I mean, all of the since you said that Africa's one culture, so you pull, but do you pull from the different ethnicities with this in this particular section when you talk about the characteristics?
I understood the question. So what for me, I don't, not directly. For me, so one of the things that when you look at the Igbo, like the Dogon culture, and Dr. Obutashaka talks about this in his book as well. And they talk about the different stages and the different phases that people tend to go through in terms of their knowledge base. And the emphasis in Dr. Obutashaka's book is to go through these different stages of development and mind transformation, that we each should arrive at a place where we can begin to improvise and add on to the culture. So for me, like this book right here, it's not a direct pull from anything. This right here is an understanding that I have been able to synthesize from the years of doing the work and studying. So that's what this becomes. So it's not directly from something direct. It's more so a synthesis from my understanding of what I have studied and what I've actually put to practice myself. Okay. And I've been able to, this allowed me to put it down in a format that I feel that others could pick up and easily read and get something from.
Okay, beautiful. In fact, family, share this show tonight. I will be giving away 9 copies of Baba Imhotep's book, Urban Philosophy, New African Revolutionary Vanguard. That's what we're talking about tonight. Family, share this show. I still see the numbers going up, not down. Share the show, family. Okay, share the show and make sure that you stay put, because at the end of this discussion, I will be announcing the 9 people who will be winning his book. All right, Baba. So let's move on to part 2. In part 2, I see, different titles: revolutionary imposter, imposters, reactionary traits, contradictions, consciousness. So you get into that, the 3 enemies of the African Revolution, aphorism, and you actually end with aphorisms and affirmations, but you begin with calling out. Well, not calling out, but this is describing the imposters. So why did you begin there, Baba? Let's talk about that. You start talking, and I know that you talked about that a little earlier when you said, look, I'm just tired. I'm tired of the imposters. I'm tired of people screaming Pan-Africanism or I'm African and living a totally different lifestyle than what they profess to be. So let's build there for a moment, Baba.
Okay, so with this section here, I start this section off with those 3: the demagogue, the charlatan, and the rabble rouser, for a reason. And it's because my focus more so was on the younger brothers and sisters that may be coming into the knowledge. And so I wanted to put them in a position where they could assess character and not get caught up. Because if you get caught up with the wrong people, they can mislead you and misguide you into the wrong things. So I wanted to let people know that historically, in all of our movements, these 3 types of individuals have always shown up, and they always will show up. Like right now, there are multiple charlatans walking around. People know who, those of us who are clear know who those charlatans are, or the demagogues, or the rabble rousers. So I wanted to talk about them and let people know what these behaviors look like, so they can have a standard as they move forward on their own journey. So when they come across such an individual, they can reflect back and say, you know what? I think this is what Bible was talking about in his book. Let me watch this person a little bit more clearer. Right. So that's pretty much why I started there, to help them develop the clarity and the insight. So as they move on their journey, they won't get caught up.
Absolutely. And there are a lot of charlatans in our community. Just to be frank with you, when I first, I've been on this journey since 1996. Been on this journey since 1996. Got to college, got in the world, and got caught up in the world too, by the way, Baba. But got in the world and got caught up, and then started recentering myself around 2013, 2014. Coming into this and then the YouTube world and just getting caught up with different people, different platforms. And I started seeing that a lot of people, that consciousness, people wanted to profit off of it. It began, I started this whole thing about being conscious, being woke, and being a Pan-Africanist. I started realizing that with, a lot of these folks, it was really about the money. It was about the popularity. It was about being polygamous. Saying I got 20 wives, I got 5 wives. You got brothers traveling, going to different cities and come to the cities and just sleeping with the women, you know, but then they're speakers, they're the lecturer. And I mean, I saw all of this. And so Baba, I realized that I had to, as Baba Baruti would say, draw a line in the sand, you know, draw a line in the sand. And so that's when I said, well, I got to step off and do my own thing. And so I totally understand what you're saying. You get tired of seeing the hypocrisy, the contradictory behavior, you know, you just get tired of it. And so I totally understand why you created or discussed that first. And so then later on in the chapter, you move into, you said contradiction. So the revolutionary ideal, and then you have a code of ethics, and that's very important, a code of conduct. And then you said the 36 enemies of African revolution, and then you end with like giving affirmations. So could you delve into explaining that for a bit, Baba? So we talked about traitors, you know, contradictions, but then you move into the ideal. So could you explain what is a revolutionary ideal, and what are the enemies of? What is a revolutionary ideal, and what are the code of ethics that you discussed in this book?
So basically, what I wanted to lay out inside the piece that's called the revolutionary ideal is I wanted to try to bring a level of clarity to what it means when we talk about revolution. And at the very beginning, one of the things I say that people should be aware of three things. We should know why we are in revolution or rebellion. You should know who or what you're rebelling against, and you should know what you desire to achieve. If you're ignorant to those three things, then you need to bark down. So I wanted to explain a little bit of what it means to be in revolution. I wanted to try to draw out how dangerous it is. It's not a fad. It's not something to be in vogue, right? I wanted to make people understand that when you talk revolution, you got to understand that you are an enemy. Right? You got to understand that you want to be classed as an enemy. And you got to be prepared to deal with the consequences that come with that lifestyle. Right? Now, not because I was trying to make anybody afraid. I want us to challenge our oppressors. But I want us to do it from a place where we are wise enough to do it professionally, if need be. So I wanted to let people know when you talk revolution, you have to expect assassination. You have to expect, you know what I'm saying, incarceration. You have to expect to potentially end up in exile. You have to expect to be demonized in the media, right? To be sabotaged. So these are some of the things that come with it. It's no walk in the park. It's no apple pie. When you talk revolution, you know, you talking about something that's bloody. You talking about these people, you know, like George Jackson said it best, right? George Jackson said it best. He said,
I'm listening.
Can we really think that people who believe that their dominance of you is their natural born right, can you believe that they're just going to allow us to walk in to seize power without putting up a bloody fight? So we got to be very clear. That's the book, Blood in My Eye. George said it best in there. So what I'm doing with the revolutionary ideal, I am just trying to clarify, you know, what it is. This what it is. This what it look like. You can expect this. These are some of the laws. You know what I'm saying? Selflessness is required. Love is required. You have to have an intense and immense love for your people, a love of justice, right? For your people. Not justice in the sense that you're seeking something from the other, but just saying it for your people. It's a difference. I'm not seeking anything from them. I'm seeking to restore for us. Two different perspectives. Right? You gotta have a love for that, because when you're in a revolutionary process, sometimes you are on the advance. Sometimes you're on the retreat. Sometimes momentum is high. Sometimes momentum is very low. Sometimes morale is high. Sometimes morale is extremely low. And you know what? You can never quit. You must move through all of those phases. All of those phases, you must move through them to achieve what we say we want, sovereignty. That's what this is about. So that's what I wanted to do with the revolutionary idea. Like, this is what it is. This is how I look, you know. And I wanted to clarify this also. People tend to say this. Well, revolution means change, right? We say that all the time. Revolution means change. It means, you know what? I tell people all the time, right? That's insufficient. That's an insufficient answer. I'm gonna tell you why. We have to qualify what we mean by change.
That's right. That's right.
You can't say revolution means change and leave it at that, right? Qualify the change in question. Because when they dropped drugs on the Black community, the community changed. But was that a revolution? No, that wasn't a revolution. That was destruction, right? So revolution is this, right? Granted, it's a change. It's a radical yet progressive change. It's a change that ushers in justice and restores balance and order. That's what it is. So don't just say change. That's insufficient. We're talking about a change that's radical yet progressive that ushers in balance, justice, and order. It restores. It restores. That's what revolution is about.
Hold on, Baba. Hold on. Woo! Oh my gosh, Baba. You said we have to qualify what we mean by change. Don't just use the dictionary definition of revolution or revolutionary. You said we have to qualify. Baba, I had to grab this book off of the shelf because you actually articulated a passage that I highlighted in his book on page 41 when he said people's war is not polite or proper. It is not possible to limit the scope or range of violence to what the enemy will bear without reacting. Any ideal, any activity that may do violence to their control will never be permitted. People's war is improvisation. I don't know if I think I butchered that word, or more basically improving. It says it is organizing the masses around their realistic needs and moving them against whatever forces restrict their passage to power. I repeat, realistic day-to-day needs should be the basis of organizing people and making them conscious of revolution, that the world, the universe must revolve, that it will stop, stagnate, and die for no man's privilege. If we accept revolution, we must accept all that it implies: repression, counterterrorism, days filled with work, nervous strain, prison, and funerals. Oh my gosh. I want to drop another bomb for George Jackson. You know, hold on. Let me drop a bomb for George Jackson. Good goodness. Fire, 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 fire. I had to drop a bomb for that brother because he's true. If we say that we accept revolution, then there's a lot that comes with it. And revolution isn't going to feel good. We want to be comfortable revolutionaries, Baba Imhotep. People want to be comfortable revolutionaries. So I want to keep on doing what I'm doing. I want to keep on, eating off of the plate of the enemy and keep doing, but I want to be a revolutionary. So go ahead, Baba. It seemed like you want to get in.
Yeah, and that has a lot to do with, and that's like all of my books are really written to help raise awareness. I write them in a way, I want them to be instructive and informative. I want people to be able to read my books and then have a different understanding of these concepts or these ideas that we're using. Because to a great extent, a lot of the problems that we are confronting has a lot to do with our own internal confusion. Now, granted, I know what the Europeans have done and what they are doing, but at the same time, there's a lot of confusion amongst us as a people. We are very unclear about a lot of what we're talking about. And a lot of us we're not doing the work to get the clarity. So I put up my materials in a way that they're very, I believe, you can easily read it and make sense of it. You can kind of follow it. It's not really dense. It's not a big book. It's something you can just look at it and you can open up any passage and read it. And I believe you can learn something from any passage that you read in the book. And I write it in that way because I realize that we're not aware of what's really going on. We're not clear about our situation. We think we're in a great place. And what I mean by that, we think we're really safe and secure in this land, and we let them tell us about the rest of the world, and we use their narrative about the rest of the world, and that's the narrative that we spit. Most of us haven't done any research in terms of any place else in the world. Most of us never really traveled, but we use the narrative that white people in the USA have constructed about the rest of the world, And we take that narrative, and that's the narrative that we talk about. And I tell people all the time, you know what I'm saying? You got tons and tons and tons of countries that doesn't see 40,000 murders a year, 50,000 murders a year like the USA. It's places in the world, Nova Scotia, Canada. I remember about 15 years ago, I was just reading, studying them. They had a fit because they had 2 murders one year. They had 2 murders and they was in the uproar like 2 murders. Like, come on now, the USA is looking at 50,000 homicides a year. And the people thinking they safe and sound. You know, well, I don't want to move to Baltimore because Baltimore, what do you mean you want to move to Baltimore? Baltimore is a part of the USA. What are you talking about? Like Baltimore is somewhere outside the USA. So anything Baltimore is what the USA is.
Come on, Baba.
Simple as that. Baltimore is not, you can't analyze or assess Baltimore separate from the USA. Baltimore is symptomatic of the country that is born within.
Hold on, Baba. I gotta. Hold on, Baba. That was, hold on. Woo! Fire! Hold on, Baba. Hold on. And I gotta be real, Baba. I went to Ghana and last year, and I was in Cape Coast, and I was building with one of the brothers over there. And I said, well, you know, how many murders do you hear about, you know, a year? This brother looked at me and said about 2 or 3. I said 2 or 3 murders. He's like, yeah, you don't hear about people getting murdered. And, you know, he said people rob, they rob. He said, but murder, 2. And this is in Cape Coast. This is when we were in Cape Coast, you know. And so, like you said, Bob, I agree 100% with you that there are places where, you know, there are places where you could go in the world where you don't see the murder rate. And the funny thing to me, Baba, is this. Then the U.S. has the nerve to call themselves civilized. This is a civilized nation. This is a nation of barbarism. This is a nation of the uncivilized. There's nothing civilized about the United Snakes of America. Not at all. But, you know, you look at the murder rate, you look at what they're doing to their own people, you look at what they're doing to other people, and then we want to walk around talking about this is a civilized nation. So anyway, Baba, I agree, you know, 100% with you. I agree 100% with you. So let's move into part 3 of your book. But before we do, family, I saw that a lot of people typed done in the comments section. So please, before I announce the winners, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I know some folks are watching on Facebook, and I appreciate you watching on Facebook, but head on over to my channel, dr.maat. All right, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell so that as soon as I go live, you will be notified. And guys, look, you don't have to worry about receiving a bunch of notifications. All right, I'm not Dr. Boyce Watkins. Okay, that brother goes live 3-4 times 10 times a day. You ain't got to worry about that. You'll probably receive about 2 notifications from me per week. Okay, because I only go live on Fridays, and I'm doing Saturdays now. Okay, so be sure to click the notification bell so that as soon as I go live, you will be notified. Also, thumb up this video, thumb up Baba Imhotep's video. Also, share this video on Facebook. And when you share this video, and I want to type in the names that you can tag. You can tag Dr. Maat. You can tag Dr. Maat, or you can tag Dr. Deanna Bailey on Facebook. Okay, those are the names that you can tag. All right. And once you tag me, make sure that you head on over to my Dr. Maat, my Dr. Maat public page, and be sure to like my page. And when you finish all of this, I want you to click done or type done in the comments section. And we're near and dear. I know, Bob, I only have you for another 10 minutes. And so I will be announcing the winners in 10 minutes. All right. So, Bob, we moved on. Let's move on to part 3 of your book. Urban warfare in the urban guerrilla. So what can readers expect to learn in that? He said I can't give them too much.
that one. I say this. So this is what I would say. That portion of the book is really for brothers and sisters that's 100% serious. That's really serious, and they would like some type of guideline as to how to proceed, how to prepare themselves, how to think, how to operate, how to condition, how to train themselves. That's what that's talking about, you know, because we, like I say all the times, I do not overestimate anything about these people, but I understand everything about going to battle. And one thing I know about going to battle is that you do not take your enemy for granted. You do not. You do not assume anything about your enemy. You prepare. You prepare. Case in point, everybody know Buster Douglas couldn't beat no Mike Tyson. Couldn't beat Mike Tyson for real. But Mike Tyson took him for granted. He didn't train, he didn't prepare. He slept on Buster. And Buster Douglas knocked him out. All right. But in terms of their performance and skill sets, he couldn't beat him. And I'm just saying, like, so that's what this is about. Like, we have to be prepared, ready, trained, on point. Our minds got to be clear. It's so much that we have to do. And we got to be ready and prepared to do that work. It's not enough to just be mad, you know? That's okay, be mad. But it can't stop with just being mad. You know, it's not enough to just blindly critique. It's not enough to just always want to talk about some damn conspiracy, right? This is what I say about conspiracy theories. Oppression ain't never been a conspiracy. It's so much that we have to.
Oh, sorry, Baba. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Oppression have never been a conspiracy. Never. And furthermore, why do you think your enemies are supposed to display to you what they plan to do to you anyway? So it's foolishness to even talk about a conspiracy theory, right? I think we focus our energy on things, right, that doesn't make any sense. If you understand that that's your enemy, then you should expect for your enemy to try to deceive you to win the battle. You should expect that. And if you don't expect that, you don't understand anything about warfare.
Baba,
when you got two generals that's going against each other, case in point, Hannibal and Scipio, right? Two generals. The only way they're going to win that warfare, right, is the general who has the best strategies and tactics. And a lot of those strategies and tactics is based on deception. It's based in deception. So we got to expect our enemies to be thinking of ways, diabolical ways to harm us. So stop always, man, I think it's a conspiracy. It's supposed to be a conspiracy. They're trying to destroy you.
Bob, it's so true. You do hear people say it's a conspiracy. You're like, it's supposed to be. But you know what, Bob? I think that a lot of us don't think that we're at war. They don't, I think because they don't see tanks riding up and down the street, because they don't see people in fatigues shooting at them or banging, kicking in your door. A lot of us really, first of all, I want to say this. We don't know who our open enemy is. We don't know. A lot of us don't. Like people are still, like, I'm looking at social media, and social media is on fire with the Breonna Taylor verdict. So people are so shocked. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. And I'm like, do you know where you are? Do you know who you're dealing with? So a lot of people, one, they don't know who our open enemy is. And two, a lot of people don't know that we are at war. They don't think we're at war, Bobby. You can go to the supermarket and you get groceries. You go to your job. You make your $15, $20 an hour, or you might be making six-figure. Who knows? But a lot of us don't know. They don't know who our enemy is, and they don't know that we are at war. So like you said, we walking around, is this, but we don't know, Baba.
No, we do not. And Asada Shakur talks about that in her autobiography. She speaks about that we should never allow our enemy to choose our enemies for us. And I think what have happened is that what the USA is good at, and I give them credit for this right here. The USA is actually a gigantic organization of magicians, right? They can cast great illusions. I give them credit for that, right? And they have cast one of the greatest illusions onto us. And that illusion is that we and them are the same. So we tend to say stuff like, our military or our government, right? We say the same thing Malcolm X was talking about when he was talking about the house nigga and the field nigga, and he say, we sick, master? We sick? We say that today. Our government is no good. Our government did wrong. Or our military, or, we waging war. So not us at all. That's not us, that's them. And so we don't know the demarcation. We have spent so much time around white people that we unwittingly and unknowingly think we are them in terms of how we see ourselves.
Mm.
So
Mm.
we talk very inclusive, and that inclusiveness is what deludes us because we are not them, and we are not included among them.
Hold on, Bob. Hold on. And Baba, that goes back to what you were talking about earlier when you said we've been acculturated. We've gone
Yeah.
through a process of acculturated. And when I'm listening to you right now, I'm hearing all of our Black psychologists. I'm hearing Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. I'm hearing Dr. Patricia Newton. I'm hearing Naeem Akbar and Dr. Amos Wilson, and peace be upon his soul, Dr. Kobe Kambon, who just became an ancestor, I think about 2 years ago. But this is what they said, that we've literally been under their domination, under their control for so long that we've become them. So we look like African people, but we're operating with a European consciousness. And Dr. Kobe Kambon, in his book, the Cultural Misorientation, or even African Personality in America, he talks about the effects of that, of operating with a European consciousness and all of the different mental disorders that we acquire from operating with such a consciousness. So, I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. And lastly, Baba, the last section, part 4, I see that it says the declaration of performance, right? Revolutionary quotable. I think that's quotable, right?
Yes.
We have revolutionary quotable and the New African Revolutionary Vanguard's declaration of performance, and then a conclusion. So, Baba, lastly, what can we expect when we read this particular part?
So this part, the quotables was me actually pulling from an array of different revolutionaries, some African, some not African, and just some profound things that they've said during their revolutionary careers. And I felt like that would be useful for individuals to see the array and to see the thinking of individuals who actually have been on this path of revolution. So that's what the quotas are. And then after that, right there is the declaration of revolutionary performance. Like, declare how you're going to perform. Because right now, what we do, we walk around and no one is beholden to no one. Right? No one is beholden to anyone. So people do and say what they want to do. But that has to stop. That has to stop. So that's why I put this book out there. So like I say, if a person's saying they're a new African revolutionary vanguard, I wrote the book, then you should be living according to the book. Have you declared your performance? Because what you doing, Bubba? Why you doing this, that, matter? That's not becoming of a new African revolutionary vanguard, right? And at that stage, he can't buck back. You can't buck back because you have claimed to be this thing, and this thing that you claim to be has a description as to what it is. So you can't give me no lip. Only thing you can do is just humble yourself down and listen to the advice, me telling you get yourself together. So that's what it's about. So we need to be able to show, we need to be able to state how we're going to, like me. I will forever do what I'm doing. That's my declaration. And I love saying it in the open. And I love saying it live. So people can hold me to it, right? I don't know how to do anything other than what I'm doing. And I'm okay with that. So if I didn't do this work, I would be out my mind. If I woke up tomorrow and not being able to do this, I wouldn't be any good. Because I realized over time who I am and what I am and my connection in relation to the ancestors. And I receive my mandates directly from the ancestors. So I don't say anything other than what the ancestors instruct me to say and do.
Ashe, Baba. Ashe. Oh my gosh. That was fire. And Baba, I have 2 people in the chat room. They said, where can we get this book? So if they don't win a book tonight, they want to know, where can they get your book if they don't win?
They can go to the website, www.plm95.org. That's www.plm95.org. So you can go there and you can go into, matter of fact, once you first come on that page, you should see my books. Once you come into the page, and you can purchase there.
All right. So thank you so much, Baba, for coming on. I'm going to announce a couple of winners. The first winner is Talia Talia. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Sister is Talaiya. Sister Talia, please inbox me your shipping address, Queen, so that I can get the book out to you. Obafemi, please inbox me your shipping address so that I can get this book out to you. And family, if you're watching and you're in the UK or you're in France, you're going to be responsible for shipping, because I know shipping stuff over there is like $10 or $15 to ship across there. So, if you handle the shipping, I'll make sure you get the book. You'll still get the book for free, but you will be responsible for the shipping costs. All right. But Sister Talia, Obafemi, so I'm assuming that's a brother, Obafemi, please inbox me your shipping address. Email Henner, please inbox me your shipping address. And Bobala, I see I'm on your Facebook page now, and I see that you shared Baba Imhotep's books, but I don't see the show. So you need to share the actual show that we're on right now on your Facebook page. Okay. And make sure that when you share it, that it's public. All right. So Baba, we're going to go ahead and close out. Baba, do you have any, and we're going to close out, but family, I'm still going to be announcing. I got to give 5 more people a book. All right. But I'm going to let him close out. Baba, any closing words?
Yes. Discipline. Please discipline yourself. Stay focused. Don't compromise who you are. Don't follow trends. And do the research. Don't take shortcuts. Don't take no shortcuts. Time move fast. So you don't have to rush it. Don't take any shortcuts, and really, really work on yourself. Make sure you move into your best African self as best you could. And don't listen to anybody who cannot validate and prove who they say they are. Don't just let people talk. Like, let's start holding people to, like, case in point, if a person has enough courage to come before you and to present him or herself as if they are a teacher or a leader or an educator, then that same individual should be okay with you questioning, not necessarily in a bad way, but questioning who are you and what have you produced, right? That's what it comes down to. All teachers should have students, or rather, all educators should have students. Simple as that. So where your fruit at? Because I can know all I need to know about you by paying attention to your fruit.
Baba, I say that often. When I look for ideologies, I said ideology, when I examine it and whether it's good, I want to look at the fruit that it bears. That's so like you said, as a teacher, what fruit have you? Let me see your fruit. Let me see what fruit you bear. Oh my gosh, Baba. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that, Baba. So, Baba, I appreciate you coming on the chat. They thank you. I see Sister F.A. She's in the building. She said, blessings, Baba. Thank you for the jewels. It's a lot of people in here. Sister Brenda Pennington, Queen, said, Baba, Imhotep makes things very clear. If you still don't get it, you just choose not to. Sister Talia says, still waiting for friend request to be accepted. All right. Got you, Queen. I got you. Okay, and Queen, look, Sister Talia, you can also go to my public page and inbox me right away. dr.maat.msu. You go right to my public page. You can inbox me and I can get your shipping address now. Emil Henner said, Brother Emil Henner, he said, I really learned a lot from this video. Thanks, Baba Imhotep, and thanks, Dr. Maat. So, Baba, with that said, peace and blessing. Baba, we got to bring you back because you had 4 books. You had 4 books. So, I want to bring you back. I want to get all 4 of them and give them out to the community. We need this information. I give thanks for you, Baba, for your spirit, for your intellect, for your energy, for your dedication, and for your discipline. I like to thank you, Baba, and for your time. I mean, you took time out of your schedule to come on to talk tonight. And this is time that you could have been spending with your wife, and your children, your organization. So I give thanks, Baba, for your time. Ashe.
Thank you. I look forward to coming back, and it's always an honor. I appreciate the opportunity just to be on this platform. Continue to do the work that you do, because I see your work, and it's touching people. It's touching. So just keep doing what you're doing, and the ancestors are gonna be pleased to both of us. We'll get there, right. And we'll be sitting down in front of the ancestors.
Come on, Baba. Baba.
And the ancestors say, "Yeah, we watched y'all. Y'all made us happy." And that's all it's about.
That's all it's about. That's all it's about. So I want to give it up one more time for Baba family.